There's an expectation when you see Cannibal and you open up a Cannibal Corpse record that you are going to see a Vince Locke image somewhere in there that is representative of what that band has done musically inside that record.
Definitely. I mean, he's been there since the beginning. I mean, he's done all our artwork. I mean, it's like, you know, and we've grown with him. I think his art has grown and changed over the years.
I'm trying to get better with each subsequent album cover, trying to outdo myself.
He's an integral part of, you know, the band's mystique and the band's imaging.
Vince works really fast, and he would, you know, send us like pencil sketches, and then sometimes with a little bit of color on them, but mostly just pencil sketches, and from that we can usually discern what the cover's going to be.
I usually do at least 2 or 3 different sketches, so the band has something to look at and choose from, send me in the direction that they want. This is the original. It was watercolor and acrylic. Lots of experimenting. I didn't really know what I was doing. Using the airbrush on the clouds. I haven't used too much, so it was a learning process getting that done.
Butchered at Birth, we use this as a promo item.
We covered it with butcher paper, but we also did just a plain white cover that said Butchered at Birth.
We did it so that people would go, wow, Cannibal Corpse, Butchered at Birth. Instead of them getting and take a look at it, they'd have to open it to get the idea of what was underneath here. And there's your shock value more than anything else. Versus just open up and looking at it, it's like, wow, what's this? And then they rip it open, whoa!
Butchered is the best one, I think, still to this day. That's my favorite one. I actually plan on getting one of my custom Dean guitars airbrushed with Butchered at Birth on it.
Cannibal's gone into that status where basically you see that butcher baby. You know it's Cannibal. You can put that baby on something, you don't even put the logo, and you know.
Usually start with very rough little thumbnail scribbles, just more about shapes, and it sort of maps out what I want to do. Well, these were my first 2 sketches for Torment Mutilated. They weren't graphic enough, so we went to that because we wanted it to be a sex act. And I just didn't think the composition was working right on that, so I went to that. This is a censored cover for Torment Mutilated. It's like different parts of the same scene. This is the zombie finding the female zombie, opening up the sarcophagus.
The bleeding was a little bit different. I didn't think it was as strong of a cover as the previous ones.
We said, well, let's take a little piece of the zombie's bloody chest and we'll put that and make that the cover, and then we'll put the real artwork on the inside.
I didn't want to make them do it over, so I kind of became creative with that.
I was kind of upset with the censored cover for the bleeding.
I think he hated that I did that.
Sometimes we'd have Vince create 2 covers, and other times we'd just use a portion of the existing cover.
They were supposed to, for the censored cover, center on the central figure. They ended up blowing up this small little section of the guy's chest.
I was so afraid to tell him that I didn't like it because I'd liked everything that he did so much before.
It's very hard to make these decisions sometimes, and then when there's so much riding on your album, you don't want to have the cover detract from it. You want to have it be a big deal.
Paul called up and said, you know, Chris Barnes is no longer in the band, but I had new ideas for the cover, obviously. Up until then, a lot of women get mutilated, and there was a lot of that in the lyrics. I wanted something on the cover that was against the men.
We're like, there, men are getting abused too. We're not misogynist.
That makes you cringe and wince.
The guy's got barbed wire around him, like mummified barbed wire. His dick is cut off, you know, orgasm through torture.
Well, he usually bases his stuff upon song titles and lyrics that are given to him. Like Gallery of Suicide, there's just a gallery of different people that are like killing themselves. So he hit that one on the nose.
And the censored cover is the outside of the castle.
Somebody's got to jump off it, huh?
The uncensored cover, that was one of the covers that I liked the best because it didn't have any fantasy element to it. It was like regular people offing themselves as opposed to a zombie offing somebody or an alien creature knocking somebody's head off, literally.
Censored, no blood, no gore. That's why it's just bones. This had kind of a Japanese feel. I like some of the Japanese monster movies. The other one, lots of insect parts. It's interesting and it looks creepy. Obviously I went more for monsters this time than zombies. I have bits and pieces of ideas, and as I draw, more things come out. The arm sewn on is something I had done in a pen and ink drawing one time. I thought was kind of cool. It was this picture of this guy or killer that was collecting body parts. He's collecting these arms and sewing them to his side here. And he would have a wire from arm to arm, so when you lift them, they'd move. This painting was a big experiment. I was working on a different material. It's watercolor, but it's painted on this masonite panel. It's coated in clay. I'm pretty happy with it. This is for Gore Obsessed. We wanted to show somebody being ripped apart. And I had the idea of the guy on the ground with the hands and zombies coming up out of the ground. It's like an overhead shot looking at the person being grabbed. Just doodling and thinking, not knowing where I want to go. A lot of times, doesn't look so hot, but it's enough for me to know if it's something I want to develop further. This is when I first started working out the two ideas I had. One was the overhead shot of the guy being ripped apart. And I thought it was kind of hard to tell what was going on. So I did one more in perspective. It showed a lot more. That's an early layout for the cover, right? Where the body is going to be laying, the main character above him, hands coming up, and the horizon line. I think this one was a bit more surreal than some of the other covers. Just all the different things going on, different zombies in it. We put a lot of work into the different characters. I like the cape made out of faces. The German division of Metal Blade wanted a cover made just for them, since they have very strict limits of what they can and can't show. That was way too gory, so they wanted one of their own. It was hard to come up with something that still had the same violence to it without being graphic. I was pretty happy with it. I think it got it across. Originally, this was just for the digital release, available over the internet. And it was a year or two later that they decided to put out the album. So this was painted thinking it was just going to be on a screen. So it's a little smaller than some of the other ones, not quite as detailed. Want to be kind of sexy but gross at the same time. I think the vagina shape with the teeth is kind of common. A lot of people have done stuff with that. And it was just my take on it. I had like one cubby hole stuffed with a dead person for every year of the box set. It's been 15 years. And it has sort of that muscle stuff going on from the bleeding, with the weird flesh growing over the machinery. I was pulling some of the past covers, trying to, make a statement for the whole 15 years. I knew they wanted to do a comic book for the box set. I looked through the old albums and read a bunch of lyrics. Wanted to base it on one of their songs, so I picked one out, Unleashing the Bloodthirsty. That's the one I actually had some ideas for. That was probably the first time where I based the artwork on the lyrics of the song and not just the titles. Those are the portraits I had done for them, for the comic. Thought it'd be cool to do them all as zombies, which I hadn't done yet. You could kind of expect it would be one of the first things you could do is do the band members as zombies. It was the first time I got good pictures of everybody, saw what they look like. Wretched Spawn, so I had to have these weird creatures coming out of her. I tried to push the limit as far as I could.
It's been pretty interesting over the years watching how suit and tie buyers deal with Cannibal Corpse.
To sell records, we did at some point have to censor the album covers. We had to censor the titles to some of the songs. We had to take the lyrics out of some of the stuff that were going into the stores.
Wretched Spawn, we did not have an alternate cover. That was at the point where we basically started giving retail the finger. This is it. We just want to do one version. We wind up with a lot of censored versions that just sit. The kids don't want them. So why should we bother making them?
Yeah, who wants a censored version when you can have the uncensored version?
If you're not going to stock it, I understand your position. We're not going to do a censored cover.
It's just ridiculous to begin with anyways, that anything in the world would be censored in any regard, any form of media, entertainment, or what have you.
Kids are very resourceful. If they want something, especially nowadays with the internet, they can find it. A tame cover just says the word kill. I felt really strongly about having just the really basic artwork about it. And we did talk about the backlash of the fans expect these over-the-top covers.
A lot of fans were really pissed off, I think, at the artwork, because it just said kill.
This sums up Cannibal Corpse in one short, concise word.
The band's main artwork is on the inside of the record.
It was meant to be the cover. Then Paul called me up and let me know it wasn't going to be on there. Said, we'd really like it, but it's not going to be on it.
Let's just do that, but we'll still use Vince's art. That's like the art that we associate with the album, even though it's on the interior.
It was a good challenge to try and come up with something based on that one word. There's an old horror movie called The Man Who Laughs, where the guy's mouth gets cut into a permanent grin, and they cut the cheeks, so he's always got a smile. And that sort of inspired that. I'm nervous every cover. I'm afraid they're not going to like it. I hope they like it.
He pretty much nails it every time. We're always psyched. Like, he's working on the cover for this. We're like, man, it looks like it's going to be awesome. He sent us a sketch. It's going to be like some kind of zombie on a throne in some sick room with all kinds of body parts lying around. We're like, yeah.
It's my job to make them happy, so hopefully they're happy.
We can't thank him enough, really. Vince has done so much in developing a great visual image to go with our band's music.
He's the Derek Riggs for us. You know, Derek Riggs did so much with Iron Maiden. It was, you know, went hand in hand. When Iron Maiden came out with a record, well, if Derek Riggs didn't do the cover, it would have been probably bizarre back then. You know, like you'd be like, well, what the heck is this?
It's like he's ours now. You know.
None of us has ever like met him in person.
It's kind of cool. It's kind of like Charlie's Angels. They never met Charlie either. He's just kind of like the guy, you know, they only heard his voice.
Vincent Locke is but a voice on the phone.
The only people I've talked to is Chris Barnes. Then when he left, Paul took over, and I've been talking to him.
For what, 12 years? I've talked to him on the phone countless amount of times. You know, many emails and all this stuff and everything.
They have called me when they were going to be in town, and just hasn't been able to happen.
It's pretty weird. You would think that we would have met him at least once by now. He's done every one of our albums. It's been 20 years, and never met the guy.
Hopefully we'll meet him someday.
I don't think he exists on this plane of being. He is in another dimension, and I tend to let him stay in that spot.
People are always going to try to find a scapegoat. They're going to try to find the poster boy for everything they feel that is wrong or alienates or is the problem or they perceive as the problem with the world, whether it be music, film, TV, whatever. Everybody wants to point fingers and go, that's bad or this is wrong.
All these politicians that are out to get us, you know, or that were out to get us at the time, you know, that they were thinking this. I'm thinking to myself, you know, how is it that these kids are so normal and you think that they're going to become so fucked up? No, I think what it is you already think they're fucked up, but you just don't want to say it because one day down the line, these kids might be voting for you.
Representatives in the U.S. government were even like, have quoted their band as like being one of the reasons why, you know, certain laws have to be implemented.
Bob Dole came out, and it was when he was trying to run for president, and he was saying about, oh, we got to fix America, and all, you know, all these things are harming our children.
He claimed that Cannibal Corpse was the most hated band in America.
You gotta understand, Bob Dole ain't never even listened to a record. So when you got these politicians naming groups, there's an aide somewhere that's telling them to name these groups. You ask them to say a line or a title of a song, they don't know.
It's just people feeding him stuff, saying, oh, Natural Born Killers, that's a good one, and Two Live Crew, that's a good one, and what's this? Oh, Cannibal Corpse, look at this, it's disgusting.
It was interesting that they thought we were so dangerous and so important that it warranted taking some time away from probably real issues at that point in time to talk about some death metal band.
They get this phone call like, yeah, they're setting up, like they're going to have Chris Barnes on the Nightly News with Tom Brokaw talking about all this censorship stuff. I'm like, wow, that's amazing.
They sent a camera crew over to my apartment, and we sat outside, did a little interview where I said, you know, I thought it was basically suicide for a candidate running for president of the United States to all of a sudden attack freedom of expression and freedom of speech.
It's always interesting when they end up putting us on TV, you know, Chris Barnes on Tom Brokaw, that had to be incredible. I wish I could have seen it. I mean, I actually was on Oprah back in the days with Jello Biafra, so it's always a treat when you get to see musicians defend their music.
And that made them more popular. People wanted to know, who are they?
Jack told me that that was like one of the best things for selling records that ever happened to them.
Bad press for us, but as Gene Simmons says, any press is good press.
Yeah, we were thanking it. We were like, great, yeah, talk about it.
Shit press,
young press, death metal, and this kind of stuff. We're like, yeah,
Exactly.
keep talking about it.
What they did do was sell us more records and bring more fans into Cannibal Corpse. So thank you, Bob Dole. We appreciate all your hard work and efforts to help us sell some more records.
Thank you, Bob Dole.
America was one thing, but you know, they were banned in, the first 3 records were banned in Germany, Australia, New Zealand, you know, a lot of countries, Korea, a lot of places all over the world. Those first 3 records were banned because of the lyrics.
We had a record label that we licensed the record, our Cannibal Corpse records to, in South Korea.
You have to go before the government, I guess, to show them the lyrics.
They did a best of. So it was the only place and the only time we've ever done a best of Cannibal Corpse. So we took the best tracks off the first 5 records or whatever and made a best of. And they kind of fudged the lyrics a little bit.
And then eventually somebody found out what they were really about.
Our representative at the label, our label manager, got arrested and thrown in jail for, you know, having released this record.
And we all felt really horrible that, you know, something like that, censorship would put somebody in jail. It's kind of a scary thing.
We had no way to help her, really. We didn't know how to get to her to help her, and we asked if there was anything that we could do, and they were just like, no, just you gotta stay out of it, and we'll deal with it. So, like, all right. But we didn't do any more Cannibal Corpse records in South Korea after that.
If you're in New Zealand, you can't buy a Cannibal Corpse record. I'm sure you could buy it somehow or get it some way.
So we can't sell anything in New Zealand. Aha.
I don't really know what happened with that because we actually wanted to go over there and playing.
Guarantee you, we signed some CDs in New Zealand, when we were there. So that's just another, in this day and age, for anything to be censored. Okay, you can't buy them in New Zealand. Well, with the internet now, you go online and you buy it and you get it sent to you. So you can't go to your record store because they don't have it. Well, you're going to go online and buy it from Europe or buy it from America, or you're just downloading stuff off the internet anyways, so it's kind of ridiculous.
Everybody yell for me! Fuck you! Fuck you! For censorship! Fuck you!
Our first set of tours with them was in like 96, 97. We did like 4 tours with them. And when we did the 2 European runs, especially in Germany, they had a lot of problems with censorship over there.
Somebody, the equivalent of the German PMRC, had a real problem with Cannibal Corpse.
One woman, one mom person, started a campaign against Cannibal Corpse.
I think a student came to school one day wearing a Cannibal Corpse t-shirt, and it was a disgusting t-shirt, and she was appalled by the whole thing.
In Germany, they have laws against violence.
I mean, there's a huge book in Germany where there's movies, books, CDs, there's thousands of titles that are either not allowed to be sold or viewed in Germany, or they have to have significant edits, like in the movies and books and everything. It's crazy.
We had to pull those records from the shelves and from all the retailers.
They were threatening the people that were in our office over there that, if they find these things, they could, put them in jail.
All their lyrics had to be reviewed by the government, and the government actually banned particular songs based on the violent nature of the lyrics from being played in Germany.
They apparently would go through and try to tell them what they could and couldn't play, which is hilarious.
These people thought they were doing good for the children by keeping us away from them, but they weren't. The kids know the difference.
All right, well, we can't play any of the old songs. You know that they give us trouble for that. Well, we can play this song from the Vile album. And since we can't play these old songs because they're too violent, this song is about stabbing a bunch of fucking people to death. So if they want that violence, there you go.
We couldn't play Hammer Smash Face, but we were allowed to play Fucked with a Knife. Give me a fucking break, that's just so stupid.
If they played any one of those songs live and somebody was there and heard it and could document it, they could be thrown in jail. The band could be thrown in jail.
They actually had people watching to see
come
if
out
they
to
play
the show.
certain songs, making sure they didn't play certain songs.
I think they were just trying to instill some fear in us or something.
Meanwhile, they didn't even know anything about the band because the band was playing and one of the people was up there and they didn't even know it was them. So they obviously didn't do their homework.
They were all sitting around. The German police are sitting around. It's like, is this off the first album? Oh my God! And the other guys are like, no, it's off of The Bleeding. All right, calm down.
I don't know how they would have discerned which song was which unless they were big Cannibal Corpse fans, and how could they be because those songs were never released there.
They're like, all we hear is, brr, brr. Of course that's all they're going to hear, It's like they don't know what's, it was funny. It was absurd.
If the authorities were bringing in import versions of them, then they were breaking their own laws.
These people don't have a clue. They were just, they have just way too much time on their hands, these people, you know what I'm saying?
You must be hardcore if something like that happens to you.
If you haven't been banned, I guess you're pussy.
I don't know how it is now for them in Germany, but back then it was very strange.
Last tour, the band got lifted.
We just started doing those songs again after I rejoined. And it was great because those songs are important. Those are a lot of the songs that older fans want to hear.
All these bands and things were they were hurting kids who just wanted to go out and have a good time and see the songs they wanted to see or see their favorite band play.
I mean, we love the horror. We love the violent type lyrics. You know, we don't love real life violence. We don't want to see people get hurt.
A good bit of our songs are about zombies, so that tells you that's the horror movie aspect of it.
Most of the stuff is fantasy. You know, it's not really going to happen. A bunch of zombies tearing people up, but you never know. Someday it might happen.
The only problem they can really have is the fact that they feel somebody is going to take this stuff and try to activate it or reenact some of this madness that goes on in these records.
People want to use Cannibal Corpse lyrics as an excuse to go do something bad or do something crazy. They have issues themselves.
I believe there's unstable people, and there's stable people. And I believe that humans have two sides of the brain. One side that says, maybe I should jump off that cliff, and the other one that says, if you do, you're going to kill yourself. One side that says, I could pull my car into oncoming traffic, and the other one says, no. One side that looks at a fork and says, I could stick this shit in my eye. The other one says, that's going to hurt, it's dumbass. Now, if you don't have this side of your brain, you don't need to keep Cannibal Corpse records out of their hands. You need to keep dinner forks out of their hands.
Cannibal Corpse tattoos, I've seen so many of them, jeez.
I've seen a lot of Butcher Baby.
I seen some guy, he had a shoulder piece of the whole Butchered at Birth album.
Or you see like a zombie here and there from one of the albums or a collage of it.
Huge back pieces of like whole albums, all kinds of crazy tattoos.
A friend of ours, she had them right on her butt.
And we signed it, and she's got our signatures tattooed. The funniest ones I've seen are the ones that are spelled wrong. Where they spell it with one, Cannibal with one N or something like that, you know?
We must have really moved that person to want to do that, you know, to put that on his body.
Well, it makes me feel like, you know, I definitely don't want to sell out. They got the tattoo because they felt real, they felt part of something. It wouldn't be right. You know, I mean, we're not going to do it anyway, fear or not, but it just keeps you in check a little bit, for sure.
That's dedication, I mean, you must really love this band if you're going to get a tattoo. It's there forever.
People that are actually into metal, they're into metal. They live it, they breathe it.
To me, when you're a true fan of death metal, it just doesn't stop, you know.
Consumes every aspect of their life.
Once it's in your blood, it's just there.
Once you're a fan for life. There's a lot of things that you're born into. There's a lot of things that you push yourself to be, and I think death metal, you're born into it. You know, it's like there's a part of you that says, this is what I am, this is who I am.
Everybody has a Cannibal Corpse shirt.
The Cannibal Corpse shirt that I got from Pat. It's one of my favorite shirts to wear because I gotta show my support for my band.
If you're a Cannibal Corpse fan, you don't own just one Cannibal Corpse shirt.
Actually, I have 2 Cannibal Corpse t-shirts.
Even though I already have 2 shirts, I had to get another one.
You buy the first one, all of a sudden you've got a lot.
When you see all the shirts, you're like, dude, that's brutal. Like, I want that one. Like, you just want to have them all just because they're all just so, like, wild.
I have some people that would just go crazy and buy everything.
That's how their fans are. They want to own everything they can by this band.
I remember when there was like 2 t-shirt designs, size large or extra large if you were lucky.
This is the original first shirt that they ever printed up. I think they printed like 50 of them the first time.
I think I might have been one of the first ones to buy one of their t-shirts. Them guys had just pulled up with a box of the first shirts. And I was like, all right, give me one, I want one, $10 or whatever.
Some of the t-shirts are more offensive than others, but those t-shirts seem to sell more. I had 50 t-shirt designs. I even made stuff for dogs. I'll tell you what, guys want to buy a pair of thongs for their woman that say Cannibal Corpse on it.
Check that fucking piece of merch out.
My favorite shirts. I like the guy that they get for all their artwork and stuff, that Vincent Locke. He does some pretty cool stuff.
These were t-shirt designs done pretty recently. I thought it was more brutal being just barehanded. It feels good. But, you know, people like it enough to actually be wearing it and stuff. Freaking out their parents.
You got to go outside and make a statement. You got to shock someone that day.
I just would get Cannibal Corpse t-shirts and stuff because they had good artwork, and I would put it on. And I would always get these crazy reactions from people like, you listen to that.
You're out there promoting them, and then just like a little bit of, you know, like, yeah, look at my shirt. What are you going to do about it?
I can only imagine what the average Cannibal Corpse fan goes through as they're going to the supermarket. And I really wonder how much discretion gets used with that.
Most brutal shirt that I have is the Wretched Spawn.
I got kicked out of school for wearing one.
I noticed a lot of pregnant ladies. A lot of ladies in general cannot stand that shirt.
They just couldn't have it. Couldn't handle it.
One of my Vile tour shirts from the '96 tour with Cannibal definitely got me ejected from MacArthur Center in Virginia.
I mostly get like weird looks. I guess they figure that if they say anything to me, I will eat them.
People don't understand what they see, so they automatically get scared and think that, you know, you're gonna eat their babies or something.
I'd like to be able to wear whatever the hell I want to wear, whenever I want to wear it.
We are in front of the Sky Room, a legendary club in Buffalo, New York, back in the day.
Me and Paul and Rich went to see Metallica on the Ride the Lightning tour at that place.
Many bands have played here. We've played here many a times, and we actually closed this place out in 1991, I believe it was, playing one of the biggest shows I think that we've ever played for being a local kind of a thing back in the day. I think there was over about 1,000 people were here.
There's definitely a few shows we played at that place that weird shit happened, violent stuff happens.
The Sky Room security were a little tough.
I guess they were like biker kind of guys.
And sometimes when you got kicked out of the Sky Room, they weren't very pleasant.
I don't like bouncers kind of pushing people around for no reason, you know, especially fans that are just having a good time.
We didn't like that. You know, we heard about this, we've seen it, we knew about it, you know, a lot of people talked about it, and it was something that really, really pissed us off.
The bouncers were being really rough. They grabbed a stage diver and thrown him out, and Chris had got a wind of it somehow.
I said something on stage about, you know, we'll fucking kill you or something to the bouncers.
And the bouncers like this to him, and Barnes, you know, I mean, they were like, you know, kind of toe to toe.
It ended up being that the kids were protecting, basically, because the bouncers wanted to go after Chris and just tear him up.
And the next thing we knew it, the bouncer was basically, you know, kind of taking Barnes off the stage or whatever and kind of corralling him off.
And after the show, they all were in the back parking lot, and we're in Jack's van, and they're coming outside to fucking fight us.
Right behind them was like 100 fans kind of coming behind him. You know, like if this bouncer touches him, you know, they were ready just to converge and go, yeah, man, you know, you're not touching him.
Somehow it got all worked out. There was some yelling and some screaming, but it all got worked out.
We played there again a month later.
I believe Jack broke a guitar string or something, and that just prompted him to say, fuck it, put his guitar down, and he jumped out into the crowd.
Next thing you know, headlock, dragging me out the front door.
All of a sudden, Jack comes flying through the door. I could still hear Cannibal Corpse playing on stage.
I'm in the band, I'm kicked out. They're not even kicking out people that are like, you know, cracking each other's skull open, but I'm kicked out.
And we kind of ran after him and said, no, man, he's in the band. That's currently trying to finish the song right now, you know, he's got to get back in, and it
didn't want
took a little
nothing to do with it,
convincing before they let him come
Wasn't
back.
easy. That's how good we are. They kick out the band members. These guys are too good. Kick them out. The Rob Barrett almost blowing up story is pretty good.
We had an RV catch fire, and then we had to leave the RV in the middle of Kansas. That was fucked up.
I looked in the paper, and I found this guy. It was kind of a shady character, but he had an RV, and the price was right. It was like, I don't know, $5,000 for the whole month or something, which was like, hell yeah, that's great, you know?
It started out like all nice and beautiful the first day, and within a week it was trashed.
Gave us the insurance card. I didn't even bother checking it out. I didn't bother checking anything, really. Just picked it up, drove it to my aunt's where I was staying, parked it there, and the next day we got out and just went out on tour pretty much.
It made it to California, but it was starting to break down piece by piece.
I just remember driving down the freeway, we're tooling along, and all of a sudden I hear this.
Because you were driving.
Yeah, I was driving. I look in the mirror, and there was literally a flame shooting out like 12 feet out the side of the RV. And I'm like, oh my God, dude, what the hell just happened?
Chris Barnes was in a car behind us. He wasn't in the RV.
Yeah, we were following, and it was actually on fire.
And I guess he called somebody in the RV saying, dude, you gotta pull over, you're on fire.
Where do I pull over? In a gas station of all places.
We're evacuated. We got out of the RV, and there was a main fuel line that had just broke right in the middle of the RV. So it's just like that, and there's gas just pouring out of the RV, and we're at least like 100 yards away from the thing waiting for it to blow up.
RV's a piece of shit. RV sucks. We got a gas leak. It looks like it's going to blow.
So we're standing there watching the RV, and we look around, and Rob Barrett's not anywhere to be found. We're like, dude, where's Rob?
I was sleeping in the back. I didn't even know what was going on.
The next thing you know, Rob opens the door to the RV.
There he is. There he is. Look at it. He is unscathed.
I was taking my time, you know, gathering my stuff.
He's got his headphones on, too, and he looks at us like, yeah.
Wasn't
all
it
right.
like 20 minutes later?
20, yeah.
And
we
we
were
were
like,
dude,
get out of there. And he finally comes strolling out, just looking around like, yep.
I'm like, dude, you almost blew up.
And then he starts walking away. We're like, where are you going? He goes, see you later.
Which way's the beach?
And he just walks down to the beach. We're like, all right.
Okay.
Don't go anywhere that we don't know what's going on. Later. All right, see you. Where you going?
Actually, after that happened, we ended up having to cancel that show. So we stayed in a hotel and we were all really bored.
Oh, yeah.
We decided to make some cheesy little movies.
Just dumb shit we would do to keep ourselves occupied.
We had like this mock drug deal.
Do you have the stuff for me?
Why, yes, I do.
Somebody was buying pot off of somebody and they didn't like it, so they started fighting.
Rob was doing my voice.
Paul Babickian, the sound man, Alex was doing his voice.
Everyone else was in the background doing the sound effects.
Sound effects of, you know, like punching.
Yeah.
That's what you get, you bastard! Hey, get here!
They would just move their mouths and we would just fill in lines.
You were the pizza delivery guy?
No, I was the pizza receiver.
Recipient of the pizza.
Where the fuck is my fucking pizza? I've been sitting here waiting for fucking 2 hours. I'm starving.
Then he opens up the door all mad and starts beating up the pizza guy because he was waiting 2 hours for his pizza.
Yeah. No, there was only 2 slices in there.
Oh.
This is bullshit. This is 1 slice of fucking pizza. It looks like you were hungry yourself.
Dumb stuff that we do on the road, you know, that's what you do.
Yeah, them no contact punches hurt a lot.
Lots of goofy stuff going on when you're really busy on tour all day.
A week later, we were going through Kansas, and this RV just breaks down on the side of the road.
And the transmission blew.
And it was like, we're screwed. I call up Mike Faley, another one of my famous help me Mike, you know, phone calls.
I'm going, well, call the owner, tell him you have to get it fixed so he can get it in someplace and use his insurance.
We're in Manhattan, Kansas. There is nothing here. We can't afford to get this thing fixed. It doesn't have insurance.
And we found out the thing was stolen, and the guy that had it was wanted by the FBI.
I'm going, really? I'm going, you know, guys, I'm thinking that maybe we better call a bus company right now and have them come and pick you up. And Chris, why don't you call this guy and tell him where his mobile home is? And let's get out of there, like, right now.
Didn't we just leave it in a parking lot in the mall? We left it in a mall parking lot.
Yeah, as another one of those famous weird happenings that, you know, that black cloud following us around.
They had a bus there for them within 6 hours. They picked up all their stuff and they finished the rest of the tour, and they left it there. And to this day, I don't know if the guy ever went and picked it up.
We had a bus driver. We don't think that he actually ever really drove a tour bus before. We think he was a city driver.
The bus driver, I think he had sleep apnea or something, because we'd be talking to him and he'd fall asleep.
All of a sudden he'd be going, hey man, how you doing, Ron?
Nodding off.
He couldn't drive for any more than like 4 hours, and he had to go to sleep.
So he pulled over on a 2-lane through the wilderness of Canada, pine trees for 200 miles one way, pine trees for who knows how many miles the other way, and he pulled over on a soft shoulder. Sand, pretty much.
I don't know how much a bus weighs, but it weighs too much for you to pull over on that soft shoulder.
I hear the bus pull over, but I don't know where I'm at, because, you know, I'm on my bunk, and all of a sudden, bus stops for a while, and all of a sudden it starts back up. So I can hear the back tires of the bus spinning.
And he's trying to pull out.
And he's spinning the wheels. It's like
figured
being
out that
like
he
in
screwed
deep
up.
snow, and he's spinning the wheels more and more. The side wheel on the passenger side, off the side of the road there, is digging in deeper and deeper. Next thing you know, the bus is leaning.
I could feel the bus like just going like at a 45-degree angle, like tilting like this. Every time he's spinning the tires, the bus is like getting, like I'm ready to roll out of my bunk right now.
And it was probably about at an angle like that, and that's when we all decided to get off the bus.
And I just woke up, and I just don't understand why. What happened?
And there's these little black flies, I guess. They come up in Canada, like in the summertime. And I mean, they're everywhere. You can't get away from them.
So we're in the middle of the street, in the middle of nowhere, and there's black flies all around our heads. And, you know, we're scratching the crust out of our eyes, and we're like, there's our bus about to fall into a ditch.
So we're like, what are we going to do out here? We have to wait for tow trucks to come get us. Not just one, like, but two, because, I mean, we're deep in there.
We wound up getting a ride like a couple miles away to like this gas station area that actually had a bar. This place had a bar and a pool table, so we wound up just hanging there for like 6 hours or whatever.
And nobody spoke English. They all spoke French. And I'll tell you what, we probably all had one of the best times of our lives. We had a good time hanging out there. It was fun.
We're lucky it didn't fall over. If it had fallen over, I don't know what they would have done.
I think they went to play a show for Cher's son too once.
Elijah Blue Allman is Cher and Greg Allman's son.
He called me about recording his band, and he was a big fan of the death metal scene.
He's a great guitar player, and he's totally into to death metal and other kinds of extreme music.
When he mentioned Cannibal Corpse, put him in contact, and they went out and played at his birthday party and got to meet Cher.
They said, yeah, we'll call you when, if you want to come. I'm like, yeah, sure, that sounds interesting.
So it's basically go out and hang out in Malibu at Cher's mansion on the ocean with a drop-off pool.
Yeah, here's Paul, Alex, and Pat in Cher's kitchen. This is Pat, Alex, and Jack in her closet.
Hanging out at his mom's mansion there in Malibu, the day before.
She went shopping and bought us all kinds of stuff and cooked for us.
Cher had like a cake made. She went there with the butchered birth cover, and the cake people were just like, So they must have been really offended when you're going to shut down Cher. I mean, come on.
We had a barbecue, and we had beans and all kinds of stuff. She went all out. It was awesome. We're there all day and all night.
I think it was a Sunday, because I remember I was home, and I never got a call from them. And I see them the next day, and they go, yeah, we spent the whole day at Cher's house. I'm like, well, thanks for the phone call. I go, oh, sorry, we didn't have a phone. I go, there's no phones at Cher's house.
And the next day we played at Johnny Depp's club, Viper Club in L.A.
It was like a private party crowd. So it's definitely this Hollywood, a lot of models and actors and actresses and stuff. They're not your typical Cannibal Corpse crowd.
Very strange. I'm not really used to that kind of thing. Being around people like that.
I remember I told Elijah, I'm not going to tone down what I say. I got a filthy mouth on stage. I send fuck with a knife out to all the women. I'm not changing that. I'm not changing anything. And he's like, no, dude, fuck no. I want X rated. I don't want R rated.
We're Cannibal fucking Corpse from Tampa fucking Florida.
It's like, man, I just want to give them a dose of death metal.
I said, all right, man, that's what you want. You're going to get it.
Half the people thought it was really cool, were into it, and the other half ended up running, I think, downstairs away from the music.
There were people there that just were like, what,
A lot of famous people were there at the Viper Room that night.
Cameron Diaz was up front. She had her old metal, she had like all the studded wristbands and everything on, and she was up front going crazy doing the metal sign. It was awesome.
Really surreal thing.
When I think back, it's almost like, did that happen? I mean, this is just, it's very strange,
How many people get to say that, you went and hung out at Cher's house with Cannibal Corpse?
Well, we played Latvia and Lithuania. We get to Belarus, and Belarus was one of the last dictatorships in the world.
They let us in the country, but then when we get to the club, the military's there, and they shut the club down and say that we can't be part of the show and that we have to leave their country.
So then we carried on to leave Belarus to enter Ukraine. And they held us up leaving Belarus again.
They won't let us out of their country.
So we were kind of like stuck in between Belarus and Ukraine.
The Ukraine won't let us in, and Belarus won't let us back through.
I think it's 300 yards between the end of Belarus and the beginning of Ukraine.
We're more or less stuck in this no-man land in between two countries, and there's guys with machine guns around us that won't let us off the bus.
And basically, we were stuck there forever and ever and ever.
I think it was a total of 36 hours of just sitting at borders.
Once we knew the shows were canceled, that's when I started drinking, so that kind of helped.
If we didn't have beer and we didn't have movies, I think tensions would have been a little higher.
No one had food. I mean, we couldn't use a regular toilet. People were taking beer crates to the woods and sitting on to take a shit.
While we were parked on the side of the road, hanging off a tree, and it's freezing out, taking a crap. That sucked.
Everybody thinks it's so glamorous. No.
But then I went back in the bus and drank some more beer, and I forgot all about it.
Finally, I think the promoter from the Ukrainian show, since he was a Russian citizen or Ukrainian, he got to leave. He kind of more or less did some contacts for us.
The guy sold his car and his computer to pay for the visas.
They made us take a police escort across all of Ukraine to the Hungarian border, I believe it was.
And we stopped at the nearest town to get some food.
Jeremy brings out like 5 double quarter pounders and like eats them all. Yeah.
I had the best McDonald's I've ever had in my life in the Ukraine.
After 2 days, McDonald's is the most amazing food you've ever had in your life.
Sounds like the Underground band was very apprehensive about going on the tour.
They're so protective of who they are and what they do and how they do it that they didn't want to alienate their old fans.
When that offer came, we were thinking that it might not be too good of an idea for us, like being an underground death metal band and straying away from doing just a strictly death metal bill.
What it came down to for us is we really wanted them on the tour, and we just found a way to make it work for them in the way that they wanted it to work.
Alright, for those of you who do not know, we are Cannibal Corpse from Tampa, fucking Florida. We're not here to teach you right or wrong, sing about flowers and fucking picnics. We're here to kick your teeth in.
We just figured we'd take a chance and see how it went.
They did it, and they kicked ass.
And while most kids that are into metal had heard of Cannibal Corpse, after that tour, they're Cannibal Corpse fans.
It was like night and day between watching the other bands go on stage and then watching this band take a stage with the prowess of being a seasoned live act. Everybody was on that side of that stage and watched 35 minutes of sheer death.
They definitely would have liked to have a longer set time, but they had a blast. They were hanging out with all the bands.
I know one thing that was probably the most fun I've ever had on the tour.
That was my most favorite tour I ever did. Flying from Black Valley, I had the iPod boombox, and we were slamming in the parking lot, the Cro-Mags and shit. We were like having beers and drinking and fucking slamming. I'm like, fuck. And Alex and Pat walk by and go, dude. And these guys are all like fucking, 28 or something. And I'm like fucking 35 years old, 37 years old. And I'm just like, fucking not drinking beer with them. Yeah.
Fucking great dudes. It was so awesome to be able to meet them.
I remember As I Lay Dying being really excited to have them on the tour as a band that they respected.
As I Lay Dying wanted them specifically for that tour.
Yeah, we kicked some shit. Now this bitch.
That's a really cool thing. It's amazing to me because they sound nothing like us.
It was cool for them to do that because it showed a whole different crowd and fan base that, look, death metal still is here today and we're bringing it to you and we want you to see it and see what it's all about.
People don't know who we are. We want to go out there and just, this is who we are. Take that. You don't know who we are? Now you fucking do. You just got kicked in the fucking mouth.
So to see it and experience it, and now they're into it, so that's a victory for us.
I definitely think there were some people that probably maybe heard of us but didn't know what we were about until they seen us.
That was probably their next extension of life.
I'm sure it was a good decision. Just seeing the way it was on our next tour, there were a lot of different people coming out to the next tour joining in.
We've seen a lot of really good bands with Cannibal that we were turned on to because of them, like Severed Savior and fucking Deeds of Flesh, and a lot of bands.
Cataclysm.
Cataclysm is one of them. Macabre. There's a lot of bands that we've seen with Cannibal, like, we wouldn't have heard of because they're not as well known.
I think they've opened a lot of doors for a lot of bands.
They're very adamant about bringing back young, up-and-coming death metal bands.
It strengthens the scene.
It's clearly helping those other bands because those bands are playing to bigger crowds than they ever played with a band that is absolutely classic at this point.
Not a lot of bands get that opportunity, and to this day, I'm very thankful for them, asking us to go on the road with them.
On the other hand, that's helping Cannibal. That they're getting some fresh blood. They're getting, teenage kids to come out to their show, that are following these other bands.
They will go out of their way to make things happen for up-and-coming bands. They did it for us. On the tour we were on, they were really into Angel Corpse. They had Hammer of the Gods just came out, and they were really into it. And they said, man, we'd love to do something with them. Next record, they were out with Angel Corpse. They did like 50 dates in the U.S. because they wanted it to happen, and that's how they are.
They speak to these bands directly. They'll call me up and say, hey, we've already talked to these guys. They want to do it. Just go and finish the deal. And, be it here in the States or overseas, they're very connected.
In general, when we take out smaller bands, we want them to be killer death metal bands that we love.
We don't want to bring out bands we can destroy every night and you know, well, we know we can blow them away, you know. Fuck that, man. We want to bring up bands that kick ass and then we don't watch ourselves. They're going to blow us right off the fucking stage.
Some of the best death metal that's ever been made is being made right now.
We did some shows with like Aeon. That's a perfect example, man. They fucking rule. When they play before you, you got to fucking step it up.
How can you not listen to a band like Necrophagist or whatever like that and then, you know, kind of be inspired by that?
Alex just brought in his Brain Reel CD. It's just incredible.
There's a lot of advancements that have been made in this kind of music, and we've paid attention.
They wanted to bring us and Black Dahlia and Goatwhore and the Absence out on the tour. I'm stoked to be on tour with Cannibal Corpse right now.
And I'm definitely spoiled by the whole thing because my first tour ever is with Cannibal Corpse.
It's nerve-wracking in the fact that I'm playing before a band that I've looked up to for a decade or more.
For us to be considered even in the same show as them, it's the coolest thing ever. It's a huge honor.
Trevor from the Black Dahlia Murder. Scream, break, and fucking struggle.
Singing with them is amazing. I've done it probably about 10 times now. It's still the coolest thing I've ever done in my life.
Cannibal's different from a lot of other bands because they'll tour anywhere. You know what I mean? There's a lot of bands where, like, if the stage isn't right or nothing's right, they'll leave. And Cannibal will always make the show happen.
Bands that don't do a lot of touring fall behind, no matter how good they are. You have to get out there and tour.
This is a poster for a show in Bucharest that we did in Romania earlier last year, and we look like zombies. Notice I have no nose. And George's mouth is like sewn shut too. I never thought I was going to be going to places like Russia and Japan and just places. I never imagined that. So it's all a bonus.
You get out there on the road, and I don't know what people see on TV, but it's a lot of sweaty, backroom, dirty couches, dressing rooms that stink. They smell like beer. You gotta really like it. It's nothing flamboyant. I mean, unless you're out with motherfucking J-Lo, touring is hell.
You got to deal with some rotten bathrooms, and you got to deal with other people's asses, you know what I mean?
Dude, all their clothes smell bad.
Because we sweat a lot, and we don't get a lot of opportunity to wash those clothes.
You're wearing the same pair of pants and shirt for 5 days in a row, and you're on stage sweating like that.
Yeah, it gets kind of hot up there, and when you got bright lights like that on you, and you're banging your head for about an hour and 15 minutes, you're gonna be drenched. We literally have puddles on the floor where we're standing.
Alex sweats a lot. Electronics in his bass is actually fried out. He's always got to get shit replaced because it just gets rusted out from excess sweat.
We have to like rotate guitar parts a lot because of the sweat. After a tour, I'll bring my guitars back in and like get new parts because they start rusting out. The guitar straps, like our guitar tech has to hang them outside to let them air out just because they're real funky.
Just washed my wristbands in shower gel a couple days ago because they smelled too bad. I couldn't even play with them on. It was just foul.
They all like hang their stuff on hangers, and it's all sweaty and dirty, and it stinks.
It's the Funk Lounge. That right there is Pat's Funk. This is Paul Funk. Salt stains are classic, actually. Sometimes, like some of the other guys' shirts, you'll see like the line because it all finally drips down and it all just gathers right here, and then they'll put a towel down here, and you'll see this towel just gets drenched. If I happen to lean over a little too much, I might bump into it. But any guest who sits in that corner will get Pat Funk.
You gotta hang them wherever you can, and sometimes you'll rub into it on accident and be like, oh man, it smells nasty.
If only that camera had a sense of smell.
Like, like, man.
Me and George are hanging our clothes in the shower, which is in the bathroom in the front.
brutal.
We have it set up in a way that they won't really bump into each other, my clothes and George's clothes.
It's not good to mix the funk because like everybody has their own unique stink.
The chemicals one person is excreting, mixing with the other, it just makes it that much worse because we've had that happen a few times.
Yeah, it's a cardinal sin. Don't mix the funk.
You take stage clothes and you put them like in some dark closet where they're hidden, where no one can see or no one's going to be bothered by them. Then they're going to stay. They're going to get musty and they're going to get worse.
Biohazard. This is a danger to public safety right here, these clothes.
They wash them whenever there's time. I think Pat's most obsessive about that.
I can't stand to crawl into it, so I always try to do laundry whenever I can.
Pat did laundry earlier today, but George isn't.
He won't ever wash his shit.
I did wear this shirt a couple of days because that cloth smelled so bad that even I wouldn't wear it. And you know, if I wouldn't wear it, it fucking smelled.
Paul and George. George his shit's gotten really gamey.
He never washes his fucking clothes on the fucking tour once.
Really ripe, really foul smelling. Almost like vinegar or something. It's nasty.
And I'm like, dude, can you just put your clothes somewhere else? And he put it in my bunk. Yeah, okay. And, you know, a couple bottles of Febreze later in my bunk, then I was able to sleep again.
I always forget to bring Febreze.
Just those little conveniences that you have at home, you don't have them here all the time. Our bus is pretty nice, so we have a lot of conveniences, but still not all. And things you take for granted at home, they're not here.
People don't think it's like that, though. They think, oh, you're in a private jet and you land and it's a 4-star hotel. No, motel.
Now it's time to go see if we can sneak some laundry at the Motel 6.
20 years of that shit, my hat's off to you. I'm at the house playing Xbox. I'm cool, you know. If that makes me less than Cannibal Corpse, I'm less than Cannibal Corpse. I can't fuck with hardcore touring. They think it's all catered food. No, microwave burritos, dude, on the side of the road.
Truck stop. Nothing special.
Getting some strawberry shortcakes.
I bought 2 cherry turnovers, fresh.
Marshmallow cheeseburger. I bet you George will want one of these.
Keeping a healthy lifestyle going out here on the road. I've been eating pizza every day, and right before I'm going to bed, I'm going to eat like about 500 calories of donuts.
You want a burger? Marshmallow burger? Look at that shit.
Is that a real burger?
Figured you'd like
Is it
that.
actually marshmallow?
It's marshmallow, yeah.
People think it's a big party out here all the time, just like in a hotel every day, smashing TVs. The typical throw the TV out the window. Man, it is not like that at all. We're out here to play. You know, we're not out here to party, and we want to do whatever it takes to put on the best show we can.
With us, it's more just get on the bus and have some beers. It's fucking lame, you know? We're not like, rah. I mean, our idea of a party is a couple beers and listening to shit up in the front.
It'll be you like standing up there, fucking playing air guitar to like black metal and death metal albums.
Yeah!
I guess the hardest part is probably just dealing with other people.
We're all together all the time. There's not a lot of privacy. If you want that alone time, you kind of just have to go into your bunk. It's like your own little pod.
I can wake up and just be grumpy, and I think those guys know it, and I think that they can see it when I'm in a bitter mood when I wake up in the morning. And you can tell if somebody else is angry about something, just let them go. And we all know that. We know each other so well after all these years together, you know.
Oh yeah, I think everybody knows each other's bad habits, and everybody knows everything that's annoying about every other person in the band.
We know what we can say to each other. We know what we can fuck with each other with. And we know what we can not fuck with each other with, what's off limits.
There's been some times on the road where, yeah, we've wanted to kill each other, or one guy wanted to kill another guy, or, you know, we get into a fight over something, you know, ridiculous. But that's just the way relationships are, and it's no different being in a band.
We're a band, we're a team. We got to be on the same bus together. You go through good times, you go through bad times, you go through arguments, you know, and disagreements or whatnot, and you agree on things, and that's just the way it is. It's like a family, it really is, you know.
The most important thing is us respecting each other the way that we are.
We, I think, do very well compromising with each other.
Yeah, being patient is a big thing that I've learned over the years.
We've known each other a long time, and we're all good friends. We know how to tolerate each other.
If we didn't get along, if we really just hated each other's guts, then it wouldn't work.
The common goal, we love playing music, we love playing our kind of music, and that's why we're here. That, I think, is going to override anything.
Whatever differences they have, even when they're fighting on stage, it's definitely all about the music, so they deliver in that end 100%.
When the music is finished for a song, then we'll start thinking, well, what would be a good song title?
For some reason, like we write a piece of music or whatever, certain titles might fit the music better.
And that'll make it that much easier to write lyrics around that.
So we got all these ridiculous titles that we come up with.
Sometimes a stupid idea, just as a joke, will lead to something pretty good. Some of them make it, and some of them don't.
Blood-fueled machine.
There we go. And then we got some stupid ones out there. Too sick to suck it.
Too sick to suck it.
It says rippage.
I forgot about
slippage.
Slippage, yeah, the word. There we go. Slippage.
Ravaged by rotted cock. Yeah.
Bury the mortician.
The bean blow.
I remember we had one impaled by wood.
Inherit the horror. High velocity impact spatter.
Back when Chris was in the band, we almost went with Drink My Piss, but we just wouldn't do it. We were like, nah.
And then it makes it to the drum head when it's actually officially a song. It's like a ritual. It's pretty funny.
Paul is kind of our secret weapon in the lyrics department, because a lot of people, unless they pay attention to the liner notes, they're not going to assume that the drummer's writing half of the lyrics and some of the catchiest parts.
I kind of come up with maybe a pattern for the certain part that I'm writing for, and then I go for fitting the lyrics into that pattern.
He'll come up with the most fucking insane vocal patterns that people can attest to. Well, maybe they don't know they're that hard, but trust me, those motherfuckers are hard.
I think that's because of the rhythmic sensibility of a drummer.
Alex and myself would write some lyrics and arrange them and give them to him and go, dude, I know that, I'm not the singer, but this is what I'd like for you to do if you can do it. And I understand if you can't, man. These seem like, they're pretty fast, and man, I couldn't do it, But he's the guy that, it can be done. I'm gonna push. I'm gonna get it done. I'm gonna do it, and he will do it.
Paul is he's fucking enthusiastic about me. He's like, dude, check these out, man. And he's like all fucking into them, and that's easy to get into when somebody else is that, into them,
When George first came in, we kind of tried to collaborate with him on some stuff.
Blood-drenched execution. George he wrote 2 lines in that song.
Nope, I'm lazy.
When he was in Monstrosity, he didn't really write any lyrics.
I wrote all the lyrics that George ever sang in the band. George never wrote lyrics. He didn't. He wrote one song, Slaves and Masters. That was where he gets his piece out or whatever.
We've tried to get this guy to write vocals for years.
Those guys have been doing it for so long now that I'm almost intimidated to try to write something, because I just don't think it would be up to the standard of what we've been doing.
We've come to learn over the years. He's just not really a lyric writer.
I'd like to say that I will on this next one. I can't guarantee that because, this takes up a lot of time. World of Warcraft. I know those guys will be like, fuck you, that's not fucking paying your bills, but sorry.
Back in the Frank practice room days, we would record the music onto an old 8-track recorder, and I or Paul or Alex would write lyrics for George to sing.
Whoever writes the lyrics will do the vocals. Incredible pre-production tapes of the highest quality, of course. I'd expect nothing less.
They'd have their lyrics and they'd sing them to me. And the versions, I have them all here too on cassette somewhere, like the versions, and I have on my computer versions of them singing the songs. Yeah.
Each of us has our own, style. I would do, frog vocals, Alex had the whisper vocals.
The whisper technique is all his, man. He's got it down pat. Years of practice, man. That's it has to be.
Yeah, it's a skill.
Paul had I don't know what you'd call it.
It's pretty classic stuff, too. We goof about it all the time.
Unsuspecting victims nearby will suffer panic-stricken, traumatizing agony.
It's definitely worth some enjoyment as well.
I mean, in all seriousness, all it is meant to be is just something so George can hear where we would like the vocals to be.
Paul writes the lyrics to the songs Pat writes because he doesn't necessarily write lyrics.
I don't write any lyrics.
Even if he wrote lyrics, I doubt he would sing them onto a demo tape.
Lyrics, smearics. I don't give a shit.
What would Pat's vocals be? That's it.
I couldn't even sing one of our songs or even know the least bit about our lyrics. I'll be quite honest with you. I don't even, because I don't care.
One of the things I, as a comedy writer, really respect about Cannibal Corpse, and maybe the same way as me, is the fact that they constantly top themselves with new creative ways of killing people.
I can see like the infomercial, you know, how they have the best of, you know, it could be the best killing of Cannibal Corpse, you know. Stripped, raped, and strangled.
They think I know who I am. All I know is I love to kill.
Mummified and barbed wire.
Post-mortal ejaculation.
Stabbed in the throat. I think that's my favorite one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Hammer smash face, like, It was like, that's perfect.
Pounded into dust.
I'd say hatchet to the head. That's pretty to the point, you know, just, you know, like cracking a cantaloupe open or something. That's not a good way to go.
Your coffin eternally lie. Many were pleased just to see you die.
Eaten back to life, that's the thinker one. That's like eaten back to life.
Yeah, that's a good one, yeah.
He's dead, but then he ate a...
Yeah.
That one, like, spins around.
I wonder if they just sit around and go, check this one out.
Killing as I come. That's a badass lyric.
She was so beautiful. I had to kill her.
Bent backwards and broken.
Those are great, yeah.
Awesome.
Dismembered and molested. That's pretty brutal.
Fucked with a knife.
That's gotta hurt.
I wouldn't appreciate that very much myself.
In the night I wait and see. In the night, watch it. Stalking your every move. I know when you're alone.
Addicted to vaginal skin. Pedophilia. Jeffrey Dahmer's favorite band. Not pedophilia. What the fuck am I? That's sex with children. I guess they did have a song about that. Sex, dead children.
I still think necropedophile is the most disgusting thing I've ever heard in my life.
Necropedophile.
Your dead child I defile, necropedophile.
Entrails ripped from a virgin's cunt.
They like to disembowel people too, you know, like remove the intestines, skin them. But there's a great number of ways to kill somebody, you know. Thanks to the Saw movies and movies like, you know, Hostel, they've given us even more creative ways to end a life.
Human beings throughout human history have figured out a whole lot of different ways to do terrible things to each other.
It's endless, you know, the limits are just, there's all new ways to talk about maiming and killing and torturing.
I guess if they wanted to go in another direction or you know, if they ran out of ways for people being killed brutally, they could come up with the most non-brutal way to be killed. I guess they could have a song like tripping on the escalator at the mall while Christmas shopping and choking on a candy cane.
If you had puppies lick someone to death, I don't know, that wouldn't be too brutal.
Cut yourself and got an infection and died. Idiot.
Well, I always thought that Chinese water torture was pretty weird. How they just, isn't that just where they drip water on you? It's supposed to drive you out of your mind?
Falling asleep pleasantly and dying. Falling asleep pleasantly.
Smother them in stuffed animals or something. I don't know.
Paper cutted to death.
Yeah. Sleeping on a feather pillow and choking on a feather.
I was going to say something like, well, sit them in a room and make them listen to the Partridge Family for, 24 hours, but that's fucking brutal.
You know, nobody wants to listen to a song about vacuum cleaners or anything like that.
Maybe overdosing someone. It's probably no blood, no screaming.
Well, poisoning's pretty nasty if it doesn't kick in right away.
Died of old age.
Died of old age. Some poor lady drank too much water one time and died from that. You can die from water poisoning.
If you're killing somebody, it's going to be pretty brutal, I think, no matter what.
I'm a huge fan of the show Metalocalypse. Who would imagine that in this day and age that on a cartoon channel would be one of the guys from Cannibal Corpse?
Wait a minute.
Aren't you Nathan Explosion?
Nathan Explosion, there's a lot of George in that.
Yes,
and
there is.
There's no other character.
Not
on
enough
the-
for a lawsuit.
Not enough for a lawsuit.
This close.
It's close, though.
I remember I had heard Brendan say that it was a mix between me and Conan the Barbarian, which is as fucking flattering as you can get.
You people out there give us something more than just record sales. You give us something to hate.
They nailed him. They got Corpse Grinder pretty down. I could tell just by this fucking this gigantic refrigerator, dude.
Nathan Explosion rules, man. He's awesome. I mean, he's got a great voice, great headbanging style, great stage presence, great stage standing.
He's the one guy who we're like, this has kind of got an iconic death metal frontman thing about him, and I think it would have been stupid of us to not be influenced by that. I don't think his character actually, like the way that he talks or his philosophies or anything.
Nathan Explosion is illiterate, and I'm sure George is not.
George is much smarter than Nathan Explosion, but
yeah.
I never graduated from high school,
He's a complete idiot. Yeah, I guess we owe him a lot of royalties, so, right?
Not legally.
Oh, not legally.
Emotionally.
We
Emotionally.
owe Cannibal Corpse a lot of emotional
We emotionally a lot of
royalties.
hugs, yeah.
Oh well, that's just too bad. Oh shit, look out! Oh!
I think some people think it's making fun of death metal, but I think it pokes fun at some of the things. If we can't make fun of ourselves, who can we make fun of, you know?
It's always really great to see that these guys that are super talented in music and can do all this stuff also have senses of humor and are funny.
People in the metal scene they're using voices for, which is really awesome, and it shows that the creators and the writers are true metal fans.
Our show's short, so if we can squeeze people in, it's awesome.
Brendan comes up and says, hey, you know, I'm doing this show. We'd be interested in you coming out here and doing some voices for us. And I was like, really? Wow.
And he was great. He came in, he was very directorial.
The only reason you found me was because I let you.
He actually acted very much like a professional voiceover guy, and that he's like, I don't like the wording of this. Do you mind if I kind of like change it? And I was like, wow, what is he, Orson Welles?
And how would you know?
He sounds like he's sick all the time.
Because he's the lead singer of Cannibal Corpse.
Death God will die. I promise.
He did one that was like in a lower register, then he did that Kid, which is kind of like a higher, kind of more nasally kind of a voice.
Hey, face, give me 4 number 5s.
George was here when Mark Hamill was doing it, and I'll say it, George is a big nerd, a big Star Wars nerd.
Yeah.
That's the only time I saw George shut the fuck up for 5 minutes straight without talking. Was like, there's Mark
It was,
Hamill.
probably-
He ate his lollipop and looked at Mark.
I was 7 years old when Star Wars came out. I saw it when it came out, and it was like, wow, I can't believe that I get to meet him. I know the guys in Cannibal were like, you motherfucker, you know?
He's not the singer of Deathclaw, no matter what anybody thinks.
And I was listening to the vocals I'm like, nah, I don't think that's him though, but I don't even know who does the vocals on their shit.
Brendan does it, and he does it fucking very well.
Some people say that I sound like George on the Deathclaw stuff. And if you think that, well, then I do sound like him.
Yeah, they think it's me singing. No, it's him. He's awesome. He's got a great voice. I love those guys, man. Brendan and Tommy rule. They're fucking awesome. I'm just glad to be a part of it.
When you take a good amount of time off, like, you just kind of want to do something else, you know, something different, just to mix it up. Because then when we all come back to this, we're like, you know, we're into it again.
Most people that do side bands, I've noticed they do side bands and they sound just like the band that they're in. Everything that these guys are doing, like of their own, is a little different.
I love playing music, and I don't really want to just limit myself.
He's probably the one that likes the most versatile in the band as far as music goes. I mean, he likes all kinds of stuff.
Everything that I write, I can't necessarily use in Cannibal Corpse. So I'll just put it in the appropriate category of what it sounds like.
Rob's got a bunch of stuff going on.
Eulogy is one of the bands that started here in Tampa, like in the early 90s.
Rob and I have been friends for a long time, and he, you know, said he was interested in doing it, and I couldn't be happier.
We got Tony Laredo playing drums and Mike Paggioni on bass, so it's a phenomenal lineup. It's going to be brutal. The music's so good, you know, it's heavy.
I haven't actually recorded with Eulogy yet, but I just started rehearsing with them, and we're going to hopefully record soon.
He asked me, he says, well, dude, do I need to audition? I was like, are you kidding, dude? I know what you can do. You're kidding me, right?
The guys whose albums I buy listen to it, and I get to jam with them, which is fantastic.
He'll jam with the Malevolent guys, you know, like he was in Malevolent for a couple albums here, a couple of albums there. You know, he's been with them on and off. Those guys also have Hate Plow.
That was me and Phil from Malevolent and this guy Larry that passed away about 10 years ago. We did one album called Everybody Dies, ironically. And then the second album was called The Only Law is Survival with Dave Colross.
The last I heard, and I don't know how far this has gone, but I think he was going to try and make a hardcore type of a band, like more of, you know, along the lines of like Agnostic Front or I'm Sick of It All or something like that, with some friends down here in Florida. Rob's always been a really big hardcore fan.
Yeah, I have a hardcore project with J.C. Dwyer from Propane and John Buskey from Terrors playing bass. And there's not a confirmed singer yet, but it possibly will be somebody in a prominent New York hardcore band. I just can't confirm it right now.
George is in Paths of Possession, and he sings for them. I think he writes some lyrics for them, too. He's probably written more lyrics for them than he has for us, actually.
Paths have been around since about '99, and George joined, I think, in '02. So we did a release before him where I was doing the vocals on that.
They were doing a split CD with a band named Dark Faith, and Randy's like, hey, you want to sing on this? I said, yeah, sure.
Then we got signed with Metal Blade and we did the Promises album. Then our new album just came out at the end of the hour.
I sing differently with pop than I do with Cannibal. The lyrics are obviously different. The music is way different. The vocals are the closest thing to Cannibal because it's me, and some of the vocals are similar to what I do. But I think I sing higher in a lot of places than I do with Cannibal Corpse. You know, the higher, you know, screamier type stuff.
It's like really old school death metal kind of style. Like if you took Metallica mixed in with like sometimes obituary style, but they got their own vibe really going on.
George is quite a character, you know. He's a great guy. We've been friends for a long time before we started jamming together. So working with George, me and him, we're either working easily or we're at each other's throats, you know.
Alex just did bass for the last Hate Eternal album, but he's not going to be touring with them.
If you're already in one band that is like a real practicing band like Cannibal Corpse, it's very difficult to be in two. That's why I didn't end up going out to tour with Hate Eternal.
Alex being one of my best friends and best bass player I know in the whole genre. It's easy, you know, hey man, you want to play on the Hate Eternal record? Yeah, of course I do. He played bass on my demo before I got signed, you know, 10 years ago.
Alex is incredible. I just heard a record that he just did with Ron Jarzenbeck called Blotted Science, which is insane.
Ronnie Jarzenbeck's one of the best guitarists in the world, so Alex being involved in that is really cool. It's got to be really exciting for him.
He is one of my favorite guitar players, and I've admired his music for a long, long time. He's just one of the most technically advanced, amazing, you know, genius players out there. And when he got in touch with me, I was like, okay, he wants me to do something with him. It looks like I'm going to drop everything else except what I'm doing with Cannibal, and I'm just going to work on this.
That's like some super technical, like jazzy kind of metal stuff, which is really intricate stuff.
It's an accumulation of all kinds of styles, really.
And then the bass players that played with Ron before were some of my favorite bass players. I was like, man, you know, does he think I'm as good as those other guys? Because I don't think I am. I was like, how am I going to do this?
When I was talking to him about the Blotted Science thing, which is like really like over the top, like twisted stuff, but it's good. And he was saying how he recorded it in his room into the computer, and he was like, man, some of those parts were like, oh, I didn't know if I could do it. And I'm like, right, he could probably do that with his feet, you know what I'm saying?
That music's never going to be easy either. That's one thing I learned, because we're relearning some of the songs to possibly play live shows, and I've just been working and working on it, and it's like, it was hard when I recorded it, and even though I know how to play it, it's still hard. You know, I don't think it's ever going to be, there's ever going to be some point where I'm like, oh yeah, this is butter. You know, it's always going to make me sweat to play that stuff.
You want to know what Cannibal Corpse really is like? They're scary murderers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do get that impression, but We all know that that's not true.
To the outsider, you know, they're going to think, you know, wow, these people must be whacked. You know, they got to be psychopaths. Look what they write about.
Some of the best stuff was the Cannibal Corpse rumors. They would stop by like a local pet store or by like the Pound, and they'd take puppies on stage and they just stomp the shit out of them. And they just squish puppies all over the stage.
Would it disappoint you if I told you they don't kill babies on the bus?
You expect the outrageousness to be in real life as well. That's like the first time I found out the Slayer guys weren't really satanic. It just kind of like ruined it for me as a kid. I was like, well.
There's this girl that I guess was friends with one of ours, and she comes up and she seems like she's already drunk. And she's like, you know, oh, where's Corpse Grinder? I want to meet Corpse Grinder. And I was like, oh, he's probably out back with all the bands. Like, oh, he's probably out back eating babies.
From what I know, all the stereotypes are true. I mean, I know I eat babies.
I saw George Corpse Grinder kill a gorilla.
Yeah.
And it was a nice gorilla. He didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah. They expect us to be real harsh, you know, kind of like Neanderthal-like.
We're not as crazy as everyone wants us to be.
We don't really eat people. Sorry.
We're not having a seance in the back room. We're not, you know, conjuring demons or anything like that. So, yeah, no goats are being sacrificed on our bus. No.
I saw a baby's leg sticking out of his like bass case, and he said, "What are you looking at?" And I said, "It's a baby's leg," and he said, "What are you looking at?" And I said, "Oh, nothing."
Yeah. That's Alex in a nutshell.
If you said, "Hey, you want to come have lunch with Alex Webster or Corpse Grinder," you'd probably get people that would be a little freaked out about that until they actually sat down and talked to the guys.
They were very, very nice guys. They didn't eat my spleen, so I'm very happy about that.
Pat is actually the one that we don't. That is true. The rest is jokes.
Yeah,
that is true about, yeah.
That is.
We're gonna joke about all the other ones,
Yeah.
all that shit.
The
but,
Pat actually is.
Yeah, that's he's he's real
Actually,
scary.
yeah.
You couldn't find 5 more normal guys realistically than those guys.
Cool thing is about Cannibal Corpse is every single person is their individual, and they're all characters, but they're all great characters.
Mr. Corpse Grinder, George.
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 Looks like this big brute, but it's really just like a big kid. The guy's name is Corpse Grinder, but, you know, he's not putting dead bodies into a meat grinder.
He's like the gentle giant. Like, he looks like he's an intimidating dude, but when you get to know him, George is like the nicest dude.
Here's my wimpy pillow for my penis. No.
He's a dreamboat.
You kidding me?
George is kind of like the youth of the band, I guess, and always was.
Whoever holds this hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor. That's right.
I think he's 12. We're not sure.
Hey, it's time to go get some fucking money.
Not immature. Not childish.
Wait a minute. You can't fit your head in there like that.
It's just George.
I'm into collectibles and action figures.
A lot of stuff that we did more of when we were teenagers. He's still doing that stuff. He still loves that kind of stuff.
Silver Surfer, love him. Galactus, who was not in the movie, by the way. That's a problem. Director.
I like the way he talks, because he talks like this, just the way he sings.
No! Because they make fun of my Baltimore accent.
We all do it to you.
No!
Like,
Yeah, everybody will just do it. It's like, come on!
What I'm doing here, boys, man, I'll try and get it like as fucking much like, yeah, and another thing, I fucking kill those fucking gnomes and those night owls.
We all know his love of video games.
That's all he does, basically, is play video games whenever he can.
He's always talking about that Warcraft or whatever it is. I don't even know what the hell it is.
All of a sudden, get hit by something, you're like, what? You turn around, there's some hunter fucking shooting you named fucking Legolas. Oh, that makes me so fucking mad.
I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Fuck the Alliance is what it comes down to.
Fuck the Alliance, man. Fuck Dark Elves.
You know, it's a game, I fucking hate them.
People are going to forget even what band he sings for. All they're going to be saying at our shows is fuck the Alliance and kill gnomes and fucking gay-ass night elves and whatever else.
In Warcraft, there are 2 factions, the Horde and the Alliance, and I play on the Horde side. The classes are Blood Elves, Tauren, Trolls. Trolls, of course, rule. Undead, which of course rule. And the Undead have a dance. Each race has a different dance they'll do. The Undead's dance, they play guitar and they jump up and then they do this. They bang their head and do the metal side. And Orcs. There you go. Alliance, Horde. I'm metal. Which one do I play? Dorkcraft. That's my rogue. So anybody impersonating me, saying that they're, you know, my rogue, Burning Blade, that's my guy. End of story.
I don't know how he's got time to even do Cannibal Corpse if he's like World of Warcraft that much.
Some people call it war crack, and it's for a reason. Because it's very addictive. It's almost an obsession. Probably. Definitely is. You know, I'm sure if I went to a psychiatrist, he'd be like, you need to stop.
He's supported, don't matter what he does, because whatever he does that makes him happy, it lets him keep coming out and keep doing Cannibal Corpse. You know, Cannibal Corpse, and then his family and World of Warcraft, and whatever else he does.
He likes to fish. He's a floored boy.
Oh, you missed it. I had one. Did you see him? No. You watch the water, not the grinder.
Loves his sword collection.
I have a bunch of swords that I don't have out in here. It's because, you know, they do have mounts for the wall. I just am lazy and haven't put them up.
It probably wasn't the smartest thing, but we'd get shit-faced and break out the swords and start having sword fights. Swinging around these huge, sharp swords. I'm surprised nobody got hurt, but it was a lot of fun.
I went on the bus, we were hanging out, having a couple beers or whatever, and George was sitting in the back talking about how he just bought a sword. And he was doing all the sword moves, like, sword.
Yeah. So he'd sit there with his sword and beer, and he'd just listen to black metal like all day. It was great.
Yeah, called the Black Metal Lounge.
Black Metal Lounge.
Yeah.
George is one of the most metal guys I've ever met in my life.
He's so metal. He oozes metal.
He's like a beer drinking dude.
I want a goddamn beer.
He's definitely easy to get fired up about something. You start talking about the Broncos or something he's passionate about.
Yeah.
There's no like build up. He's just like bam. He's ready to defend.
I'm from Baltimore, so I'm not going to not root for the Ravens. The year that the Ravens won the Super Bowl, they beat the Broncos in the wild card round.
I remember arguing with Corpse Grinder all the time about the Raiders versus fucking Denver. Fuck the Raiders, fuck the Raiders.
Yeah, boy. Maybe not this year, but yeah, boy.
Extremely passionate about football.
That is not a Peyton Manning Colts helmet, by the way. Johnny Unitas, all right? The greatest Colt ever.
Whatever it is that he's into at the moment, he'll let you know about it.
George is the master of the claw machine.
The claw? What is that?
It's a big sort of pseudo game, and they have a lot of truck stops and restaurants, and it's filled with animals or toys or whatever. This thing comes down and grabs whatever prize you're trying to win and pulls it up.
Oh, one of them things where you do the... I want a My Little Pony, a Care Bear one for my daughters.
I'll tell you, he is the master. He cannot be beat.
He's obsessed with those machines.
Try for this little cat in the back here. I have a bunch of dollar bills right now, burning a hole. Come on. That's fucking bogus. Booyah! That's right.
He has a few gifts, and that's one of them.
Yeah, he's really good at claw machines.
Claw machine, video games, and
well, we'll get back to it.
Wait, I might be able to get something else now.
I want to play video games. I want to collect action figures and whatnot. I mean, when I come home, I have responsibility to watch kids, but that's where being a little bit of a child, I guess, at heart helps because, you know, I see things differently.
He's pretty much Mr. Mom, I guess.
Come here. All right. Time to go night-night, y'all. I'm a homebody. I'm fine just to be at home, you know.
I love being home. Of course, I love being on the road too, but nothing like really coming home and enjoying, you know, this.
Paulie is a father now. He loves his daughter immensely, and that's probably the biggest joy in his life is his daughter.
What? Daddy plays the drums, right?
Paul's got a 2-year-old like I do, so we trade child stories all the time.
In the days when we were 17 and 18 and 19 and 20 and you're sitting around and you're talking about the latest band or, you know, did you get the new Sodom or, you know, whatever. Hey, man, did you hear this? Or, you know, did you see this chick or whatever? And now we sit around and we talk about our kids.
She wants me to take her fast, but Daddy isn't equipped right now. Everything revolves around the baby. Everything, do now and where you go for the most part. So yeah, things have changed. I mean, I guess for me it was not like a natural progression, but I slowed down over the years. You know, I don't want to go out anywhere. I guess it would be a little tougher if you were one to want to always be, you know, still going out and party and things like that. I'd rather stay home and enjoy playing with my daughter.
He was the one who really adapted well to domestic life.
Yeah, I live on 2 acres here, and yeah, I've always been an animal lover. The usual dogs and cats, but my wife is a horse lover and an animal lover as well. And when we moved out here, we got a barn on the property and all that. So this is Dolly, the mule, and this is the one that we got first. Here's Wilbur. He said, yeah, I'll take some of that. Yeah, all right. Charlie, we've come to find, is well over 20 years old, and he's a little slow going. He's actually, I think he's a little blind in one eye. I got the Cannibal farm going. They're pretty much just like our pets, of course. They're like big dogs. I think it's very calming, very soothing to just be around animals, be in nature and have some space. And a lot of people wouldn't think that I'd be living where I live in 2 acres having horses and mules. A lot of people wouldn't expect that.
Paulie's a vegetarian now after the last 5 years, which really surprised me more than anything.
All the songs about how you can get killed and how you can be tortured and being, I mean, it's ridiculous. And then you find out he's vegetarian, it's just kind of...
They just can't understand how a member of Cannibal Corpse could be a vegetarian, you know, like I'm supposed to be eating meat, and you know, if I'm not eating meat, or if I'm not eating raw meat, I'm supposed to at least be eating meat, you know.
I was kind of disappointed when Paul told me he was a vegetarian. It's like, damn it. No, it's great though. He looks great though, so it's all good.
I remember seeing Cannibal Corpse play last time they were in Toronto and watching Paul for the majority of the set because I'm a drummer, and thinking, Jesus Christ, this fucking asshole hasn't slowed down one bit. And I have. I've slowed down Paul.
His job every day is very physical, so he's always been one of the more athletic people in the band, for sure.
That's definitely something that he stresses, is to be able to stay in shape.
He plays hockey pretty often, and that's a challenging sport.
He's a damn good hockey player. He was a real good hockey player when he was young. And when he finally got to college age, that he could be able to play hockey for a junior college and have them pay for it, where I had to pay for everything up to that point. And he said, I got to make a decision here, Dad. He says, I'm going to go with the band and not play hockey. I remember that frosted me for first a little bit.
He got me into hockey years ago. He was always my coach, was a coach of a team, always involved in that. So I love going up there and being able to skate with him.
Oh, he's really good, actually. He was one of the fastest skaters on the team when I seen him like a long time ago. I don't know about now, but...
I'm tired. Always tired when I'm up here. I feel like I can't skate when I'm up here. I don't know what it is.
I've gone to see Paul skate before on his team that he has down in Brandon. He actually plays.
Uh-oh, is he gonna beat him? Oh, battling.
And he didn't play hockey for a lot of years because he was really dedicated to the band, and I guess he has to be. I mean, I know they're very dedicated. He spent a lot of time practicing and really honing their craft, and over the last 8 or 9 years, he's back to playing hockey again, so he's enjoying that part of his life.
We just finished our night of hockey here in Buffalo. Me and the old man here.
Yeah, right.
A lot of fun. We had a great time.
Did you see my 8 goals?
We saw them.
I didn't even have 8 shots.
My dad's been doing this for 30 years or whatever with the guys, kind of a thing. He's the oldest guy out here. But this is what it's about. It's about getting off the ice and drinking beer.
Hockey players and hockey lovers have to stay together.
Who's your favorite hockey team?
Well, I mean, I'm being from Buffalo, and, you know, it's always going to be Buffalo.
You know, I don't know about the Buffalo Sabres, but I like the Devils and the Montreal Canadiens, and he can say whatever he wants.
It's the Sabres all the way, you know. It's just the team that you grew up with in your city, and I'm that guy.
I could give a rat's ass about sports.
Yeah, getting Pat to do probably anything physical, like, say, I couldn't imagine Pat being on, like, a jet ski or trying the water skis or exactly hitting the volleyball around on the court. I mean, that would just be like, yeah, I want to see that happen.
No, you won't see me in the beach with my toes in the sand flipping around a volleyball, but you will see me drinking a beer.
Pat is the introvert until you get a couple drinks in him. He's a completely different person. We like him even more, actually, but don't tell that to the rest of the guys because too late now, I guess.
If I'm drinking, I'm probably the most loudest and most obnoxious, so it just depends.
Although I think he's not drinking as much now, which is good.
Pat's not drinking anymore? Fuck, Pat. Get some Budweisers in you, buddy. I don't really like being out on the road anymore and being out drinking anymore. It just doesn't work.
He hasn't drank at all on this tour. It's lame.
If I want to party, I'd rather party here while I'm home, you know. And I don't want to party around people I work with.
That guy is so dedicated to guitar. He will literally start playing guitar at 10 o'clock in the morning and doesn't stop at all.
He'd constantly play. That blew me away. I didn't play as much as him. I picked up my guitar maybe half of the amount of time that he did.
He's so into playing the guitar that he sleeps with his guitar. He literally does. He keeps his Jackson just up against the wall on the side and he sleeps with his damn guitar.
Throughout the day, like if you go on the bus and you see Pat, he'll usually be sitting there playing guitar, running scales and that sort of thing. He's pretty dedicated to that.
When I'm on the road, I practice nonstop for sanity purposes. Helps me put that wall up where I don't have to like be around anybody else. I can kind of just get into my own playing, you know, and not have to really think, you know, about what anybody else is doing.
He's always a perfectionist when it comes to playing.
Trust me, I beat myself up so much. I'm my worst critic. I'm playing very sloppy. You have no idea the hell I put myself, the unnecessary hell I put myself through. It's such a stress ball as it is already, you know? Usually that's like probably my pacifier, I guess, you know?
Pat reminds me a lot of like, I don't want to say Ted Nugent, but the guy slings a fucking BC Rich Flying V and guns at the same time.
Lift weights, drink beer, shoot guns, play guitar.
He left out kill ladies.
Kill ladies. He's not even from Tampa, and he's more of a redneck than most of us. He had this like big old red truck with these big tires, and we drove out from Erlanger, Kentucky to Seattle, and we got pulled over once on the way by a bunch of state patrol officers. And they asked Pat if there was any guns in the truck, and Pat said, "Yeah, I got guns in the fucking truck." I'm like, "Oh my god!"
Well, here we got an AK-74 assault weapon. This is kind of a neat little toy. You see these in a lot of movies. It's called a SPAS 12. It's you see it in movies like Terminator and stuff like that. This was a good find at the gun show. I walked in a house with it. My grandmother was over there. She was visiting. She's like, "Oh, Pat. That's terrible." Oh man, it was pretty funny.
It's all right. It's dead. It's going to die. It's going to die.
That's the first boar I shot. I said I'm going to shoot the damn thing right in the eye. And that's what I did. About 60 yards out, I wound up getting him right in the eye.
There's a little bit of footage we put on the Wretched Spawn. We didn't explain what was going on in that scene, so I'm taking this opportunity now.
The owner was holding the video camera like you're holding, and he had a shotgun at the same time.
And the gun he had under his shoulders pointing down there. I'm standing a little ways over there, and I'm holding a gun. I'm asking a question. He's standing there aiming a camera at me, and he's got a gun under his pocket, and he's reaching into his pocket to get more shells. I'll never forget it. And his gun fired. Oh, shit.
I mean, he's lucky he didn't blow his foot off. He's lucky he didn't, you know, shoot one of us.
And a bunch of people didn't understand what was going on. They seemed to think it was my gun that went off, which I don't know how my gun would shoot and then make a cloud of dust 6 feet over there while I'm holding it in the air, and then it didn't move or anything. Fortunately, it was not a tragedy. Like I say in the video, I go, I'm glad I wasn't aiming at my fucking nuts.
That was a misfire there. Glad it wasn't aimed at my fucking nuts.
Because if he had it, like, I'm like, killer, my balls are blowing off, my kneecaps are blowing off, Austin's knees are, you know, who knows what could have happened. Guns are dangerous. I haven't gone shooting since then. If I do go shooting again, I'll go alone.
Let's review our gun safety, shall we, gentlemen?
I went to the range a couple times with Pat. He's got a big collection, so sometimes we'll go out there. He shoots a lot more than me, though.
He's definitely got a fascination with it, you know, too.
We're going to Serbu Firearms. My friend Mark Serbu, he builds mostly 50 caliber rifles, but he builds like a bunch of Frankenstein kind of firearms too. You know, just his own little creations. I like them, like to shoot them, like to shoot stuff. Not like living things, I'm not a hunter, but if I was gonna shoot something alive, it would be a human.
Rob, he's something, man.
Rob's personality, a wild man.
Oh, Rob.
He's hysterical.
He's a party for sure.
A lot of fun to hang around with and get drunk with.
Well, here we are at my church, the Body of Christ Assembly. No, it's the Brass Mug. I come here probably like 2 nights a week.
Yeah, he comes in here.
Say hi to the freaks.
Oh shit, it's right there.
Hey, what's up, dude? I'm like the social bug, I guess, of the band. What's up, man? How you doing, man? Hey.
He really cares about his friends, you know.
I'm a people person.
Amazing. I love the kid. He's helped me through some hard times, you know, my counselor here and there on tour.
He's just a real down-to-earth guy and loves to have fun and loves metal.
If we'll be at our local metal bar and he's there jamming, he knows every song on bass, guitar, drums, all the vocals, you know, all the lyrics.
He was sitting next to a jukebox one day for probably an hour, and every song that came on the jukebox, he played note for note with it. And I was like, how does he know like every song and every riff? I mean, it was ridiculous.
He could just learn it within like a half a day. Like listen to it and he'll start playing it back like right with it this next 1 or 2 plays. I mean, the guy is amazing.
He has the best ear in the band for learning other people's music, especially.
The guy's got such a great memory that he'll remember all these old Tyronson riffs and Leviathan riffs, and you know, and he remembers them like, you know, he just learned them yesterday.
He's a library of riffs.
Yeah, I just have this guitar neck in my mind, and I can just like picture where all the notes are. It's weird.
I did stump him one night. He was like, dude, he was actually on stage saying, dude, I bet nobody can name a song that I can't play. And I come up to the side of the stage, I go, fast way, say what you will. Easy riff. Didn't know it, so I got him.
Hey, forget about it, forget about it.
Rob Barrett is probably one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life.
He should be like a stand-up comic or you know, an impersonator.
He can mimic anybody. If somebody's got a funny way of talking, he can do it perfect.
Rob is the Rich Little of death metal.
Oh, this guy is the best of the best as far as doing impressions of people.
He used to call people and pretend he was a DJ on the radio and imitate DJs that you've won a contest. And the people fell for it.
I'm really good. I'm a mimic from hell.
He pays really close attention to detail on what people do, and that's why his imitations are good.
It's unbelievable, uncanny how he'll get mannerisms and movements and all these friends that we know and that he knows, he'll do them, and we're just like, dude, we laugh because it's, man, that's him, that's them, or whatever. You're just so good at that, man.
Yeah, of course.
And you can't ask him to do it, it just happens.
I don't do impressions on request. They just come out. You just gotta catch them.
Now see, I told Denise that you do a good imitation of me, and she said you'd never do it.
It's pretty killer, man.
It's pretty killer, man.
Well, I mean, if he's right here, then I'll do it.
Alex, will you ask him to do an impression of you?
No, man, I don't want to see him do me. I'm too self-conscious for that, man. Because he's paying attention to things about yourself that you didn't even know existed. I don't even want to know what kind of dumb mannerisms I have. I don't want to see it.
And it's going to be detuned. And
He does me, he does it, and I'll just be like, you dick. But you say that because it's good, you know?
He does me really good.
Pretty fucking good at this shit, motherfucker.
He could have me rolling on the ground, crying on tour, just laughing my ass off.
Remember the bus driver on the second leg of the U.S. tour?
It's fucked up, man, but I mean, we gotta let
Oh, the shot!
That's this guy, Rick Jenneret, now the play-by-play guy for the Buffalo Sabres. He like gets really loud sometimes. He gets really excited.
The shot!
Did he ever do an impression of you?
Oh my God.
Patronize me.
Rob is the creeper.
Creeper.
The creeper. The creeper.
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 I'm creepy.
He likes creeping.
Creeping. Yeah, I'm the creeper.
He'll get off the bus quietly, creep around, smoke a cigarette, disappear. You're like, where did Rob go?
Here we are, smoking again.
And then all of a sudden he's like right behind you. I don't know. Where did he come from? I have no idea.
It's the only time you catch me.
You heard him, you didn't see him. You just felt that presence like, is that Rob?
You just appear basically before, there he is.
All of a sudden I'm there.
I'm sure he's the same way now.
He's creeping and creeping.
Howdy doody. The creeper returns.
Here's a creeper pose for Rob.
I think Jack's more of a creeper.
Yeah,
than me,
Jack does.
actually. Like,
Jack does.
He goes off on his own for like half of the day, pretty much, and then he'll just pop up.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, Jack.
Jack, whoa.
Crazy Jack.
Jackie!
I still couldn't tell you about Jack.
I've known him so long, but at the same time, it's kind of like I don't even know him.
He was the quiet, unassuming one.
That doesn't mean that he's not necessarily an assertive person. Just means he doesn't yap as much as a guy like me.
It's hard to read him a lot of times.
He's a man of few words, and when he speaks, you know, he's short and sweet with it, but you know, it's to the point.
I've only seen that guy ever get mad like once, you know, and when I did see it, you were like, holy dude, Jack mad? He's raising his voice? Like, wow, I didn't think it was humanly possible for him to do that.
He's just a mystery man sometimes, you know, like he just goes off and does his own thing.
You know, you arrive in some killer city like Rome. Okay, cool, let's go look around and go do something. I swear we had just showed up at the place. We'd start walking to go find something. We get there, Jack's already there. Like, how do you get here already?
If you wake up at 12, 1 in the afternoon, and you see Jack, you ask him, dude, what's around here? And you will know the fucking layout of the whole city.
Or you cross him somewhere in the streets and he's just like, oh yeah, there's this store there and then the beach over there.
McDonald's over here, there's a bank over there, and this over here.
You see him for a second, then he's gone. You don't see him, then he shows up.
I'm at the library, I'm at the gym, I'm, you know, just riding around.
They're about to go on stage. Where's Jack? Where's Jack?
And I ride up on my mountain bike, ride to the backstage, throw my bike down, get on stage, and play.
I know Jack is the explosion.
And we'd always say he'd exploded, you know, like, where's Jack? Well, he exploded, he's gone.
And he's the Oyster also. That's his main nickname.
We'd all be practicing, you know, practice space, you know. Jack's here, I'm here, Alex is here, Pat's here, and there's Paul in the middle, you know, where his drums are. So Jack has to walk past all of us to get out. You know, so if he's, you know, practice is over, he's going home. Practice is over, we'll be talking, next thing you know, Jack's gone. I mean, I'm serious, man. He would just get past us and get by us when you wouldn't even know he was, you know. We'd be like, dude, how the fuck did he get out of here? Aha, the Oyster.
He definitely walks to the beat of his own drum.
I got the impression that he had a very mischievous sense of humor for the most part.
He wants to fucking, you know, bust some jokes out. He can do it.
That guy will say something and you'll have to like think about it and look back and say, did he just say that? That was the driest thing I've ever heard anyone say.
And then the biggest turning point was when I quit. And then the band just went down the tubes. I mean, what are they now? Nothing.
His whole life is like a performance art thing that only a few people get, and he's fucking with people all the time, and they just don't.
You think?
Yeah, most people don't realize it.
And if you're not paying attention, it goes right over your head. But it's very dry. But I love it though. He'll just say some shit, and I'm just like, oh, that's fucking great.
He's really, I don't know how to explain him. And the Oyster, the explosion.
There's nobody else like him, and you can't even begin to figure him out.
You better not even try and understand it. Just go with it.
Alex is the smart one.
Really, really smart.
Smart. Very smart.
Very studious.
Really intellectual guy.
Very, very, very highly intelligent person.
Knows everything about history and politics.
Ybor City is a neighborhood that was one of the original neighborhoods in Tampa, and they actually have a newspaper here, and I believe it was for a long time the only trilingual newspaper in the United States.
We toured Mexico, so he bought CDs to learn Spanish.
He was a big reader, so he'd read a book, and he always had a dictionary with him. So if there was something that came up that they didn't know, he'd look it up. And we're like, what's that all about? He's just like, well, if I come across something I don't know, I look it up, just so I know for the future.
I mean, his last name's not Webster for nothing. Webster Dictionary.
We were just talking about what we were reading and stuff, and he was just telling me how he's reading about, like, just sound waves and stuff like that. I could explain what that is, because I just read a book about the engineering thing. When something resonates, for some reason, like those pieces of metal are in an exact tune with the note that's being hit. He's like, I'm in the business and we do this for a living. He's like, I figured I might as well find out exactly what it's all about, what the you know, the scientific end of it is all about. So then that's how he is. I'm like, wow, that's cool. I wish I was more dedicated.
He's a dedicated guy. He's as dedicated as he gets, I think, you know, when it comes to a musician or a person, you know, he's a real loyal type of guy.
Just a hard worker. He's dedicated to the music, and He puts a lot of time into it.
I'm always going to be playing bass at least a couple hours a day.
That's awesome that you have that much dedication to your instrument after 20 plus years of being a musician. It's admirable.
He's always shocked when someone says anything nice. Every time I'm like, great show, he's like, really?
I think some guys, they get to a point and everybody's telling them how good they are all the time, they kind of stop, but Alex is like, nah, I think I could do a little better.
You can always still learn.
He's always craving to learn, which is great.
Always, you know, trying to get better and better, always practicing.
You can tell he's more than just playing these songs. He likes to play his instrument.
He knows about all the scales and the modes and stuff.
I started working on being able to do actual like scale patterns and stuff instead of just pedal tone.
That's all mumbo jumbo to me. It's like foreign language to me. I know how much time he puts into all this, you know, so that's respectable.
Spent hours and hours and hours and weeks and months and years doing that. I think he's pretty well respected because of that.
He deserves to be thought of as a real spokesman for death metal musicianship.
He's the epitome of what, you know, being part of a scene is all about.
He gives a lot of encouragement to the other bands and to the younger musicians who look up to him.
He was just teaching me his finger technique, so I play with a pick. In case I ever wanted to go into that realm, I just asked him how he learned how to play and what got him to the point he's at now.
Really talk with people about music, and he seemed like he was really into it, not just doing it for any other reason than just for the music itself, and loved talking about music and loved talking to people about music.
He's a music junkie.
He would always know all the bands and, you know, be really into the underground.
He was just constantly turning you on to new music.
He's a consummate musician and businessman.
To me, it seems like he's kept that band together through whatever they've went through.
He's pretty much the captain of the band as far as I see.
He is the driving force behind keeping us all together, kind of a thing, and keeping us going forward.
He organizes a lot of stuff on the business end, him and Paul.
Myself and Alex, of course, take care of pretty much all, you know, the business.
Those guys were really smart in how they did their business, and that's why they're still around and still successful today, because they've grown into being not only amazing musicians, but really smart, good business people. And see them develop and have kids and houses and cars and be able to live off the music. That's why we all do this. Really, aside from just being a fan and wanting to bring good music out to the world, you want to have the people that you work with have a nice lifestyle.
thoughts of the night, deep in the darkness of your mind, shrouded in shadow, the mental thoughts of